What's up? Happy Wednesday, everyone. Today I got a brand new land investor, Nick. He reached out to me on Discord and he was asking about some coaching and things like that. He does have he has the Leah modules and everything, but he's just looking for some, little help, little pointers and stuff like that. So we're gonna bring him on in a minute. First, I just wanted to say if you guys haven't done yet already or not, you got to get on the wait list for the new Land Insights. That's coming up soon. So I'll show you right now what this is the normal version that we have. Well, the new one that's coming out, V2, is absolutely insane. It has everything between pricing, it has um heat maps, zone maps. It totally looks different. It does not look like this at all. Super excited. I can't wait to show you guys the demos for all that stuff. It's gonna be absolutely insane. And I know the guys in the back end, they've been working like crazy on it, and it's insane. So I'm super excited about that. And then you guys also know that this new month is opening up. So this new month opening up, there's only 15 spots open for Leah. So make sure you go on, and I'll give you the link right here. You go to landinvestor.co slash apply, and you could hop on there and you could apply to be part of Leah. You'll join a bunch of 8-figure land investors. You get to hop in there, talk, chat, have a good time. It's definitely worth it. So hop on in there and check that out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring Nick up, and Nick's going to tell us a little bit about who he is, what he does, and all that stuff. So what's up, man? Tell me a little bit about what you got going on.
Hey, yeah. So, getting ready to send my first mailer. I priced out like five, three,
Mm-hmm.
four, five, yeah, five counties,
Okay.
and there's a couple of hiccups I was going through. And before I dropped this expense, I was just reaching out on the Discord, and you reached out, and just awesome opportunity. So
Yeah.
here I am.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know Aaron Waxman. I brought him on a couple weeks ago, and I think it was early January. Um, I just helped him through some coaching and stuff like that. I think he's got 4 deals in title right now. One that's actually got an offer on it already. Net profit of I think it's a gross profit of like 25, 30K. It's crazy. So this stuff works, but there's ups and downs and there's things that you just don't know about. So I appreciate you reaching out. I love doing this stuff. I love bringing people up here and just shooting the shit and just trying to go through everything. So yeah, I'm excited. So wait, now you're how old? 19, 18, 14?
19.
Yeah. Nice, dude. That's sick. You have like such a bright future ahead of you. So you're in college, and what do you do in college?
I'm studying finance, and I'm halfway through exactly now, and I realize I don't want to follow everybody else, and it's kind
Sure.
of like a weird line where if I drop out right now, it's like a lot of money is wasted. And I don't like quitting things either, but it's like I don't know. It's just a weird situation.
Yeah. I mean, don't quit. It's good to have that in your back pocket, especially
Mhm.
are you going for finance to get like your series and stuff like that, or no? Like your
I'm
series exam, series 6 and all that stuff, or no?
well, really. I mean, there wasn't like a ton of thinking behind it. I went to community college last year on scholarship, so last year was almost free.
Sweet.
And obviously now it's relatively expensive here at university. But I want to just like own things, and I don't know. I was just talking to my parents, and I mean they're not entrepreneurs really, but my dad kind of is. But I was like, I wanna own self storage and like certain things eventually. And I don't know, finance just seems like puts me in the right room of like being around the right people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, finance is a great job. I have a friend. He's a financial planner. Kid's 27 years old. I think he's making like 400K a year, and it is a great job. It's just I think he probably works 6 days a week, and I don't know, maybe from like 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. every single night. So it's
Jeez.
like, yeah, the money's great, but like he has no time. But
Hmm.
he has the knowledge and everything like that. The good thing is that he sees that he's working like a maniac. So he's trying to do other things, and actually he's going to start investing like with me and stuff like that on different aspects. Just because he sees like I don't want to do this forever. So it's like a good thing to have in your back pocket, especially the knowledge and all that stuff. Um, Use it to your advantage, especially if you're doing something like this where you need private capital a lot. you could work with a lot of these people that you're going to meet throughout your finance career, um, and work, and use them as lenders. So it's never going to
Mhm.
hurt, right? But just, don't go broke. Now, the good thing is you're learning this really early, which will give you a huge edge, right? In probably 2-3 years, you'll be making three, four, $500,000 a year, no problem, easily, and not working 80, 90 hours a week. You'll be doing maybe like 15 or 20 and still making that money without a doubt. I mean, it's easy to do when you really like commit to it. It just takes a little bit of time to really like get everything like fully rolling. But this year, if you follow everything inside Leah and just work with everybody and just communicate, without a shadow of a doubt, you'll make 200K this year easily. And if you have the money for the marketing and all that stuff, that's all kind of part of it. But it's also not just that. It's also just being scrappy and knowing how to figure things out, knowing, all right, what actions could I take to get a little bit of an edge or something like that. You know.
Mhm.
Okay, so you did some market selection. As far as like, market selection, all that stuff, did you just kind of like come up with a plan, or you just said, hey, let me just look at some counties and just take this, whatever?
Yeah, I went on Land Watch. I put in the filters, 5 to 40 acres.
Okay.
Well, actually, the reason why I'm here, so I wholesaled a house. My dad, he door knocked on it, and since I'm licensed in Michigan,
Nice.
he was going the approach where he'd offer the wholesale price and I would offer the list price. So they didn't have to go like find another opinion. So I made the whole presentation. We do the presentation. She ends up wanting to. It was a horrible house.
Mhm.
So well, not horrible, but it was a great deal for wholesalers.
Sure.
So she goes with the wholesale price, and I tell my dad, um, I was doing some land research. I'm like, this is a infill right in the city by new construction.
Hmm.
And I said, why don't we split the lot up and sell the 2 lots? And we were like kind of going back and forth because we got it for a great price.
Hmm.
And um, he didn't want to do that. We got a good deal from a cash buyer, so we
Perfect.
wholesaled it. We missed out on multiple 6-figure subdivide deal that guy's doing. We saw it listed,
Oh
and
shit.
I was like, oh my gosh! So I immediately bought this course. I'm like, that would have been life changing money.
Yeah.
And so here I am. So, anyways, back to your question.
Hmm.
Um,
It's crazy,
with
but
the
you don't know what you don't know, right? Like it's hard to say. Like if you knew about land before that, you would have looked at it and be like, all right, let me subdivide the house out, keep the land, sell the house, because the wholesale would have they still would have wholesaled it for the same price probably, but you would have kept the land.
yeah, it was
Crazy.
we got it for 150,
Nice.
and the guy is selling both lots for they're probably gonna sell for 300 each. Yeah,
Oh, it hurts.
yeah,
I feel you
yeah.
there, man.
I mean, it was a good wholesale considering like most wholesalers 15 grand, but
Mhm.
oh my gosh, my heart just dropped when I saw it. I was checking
Yeah.
Zillow and I was like, oh my god.
Yep. Well, you know what? That's a good. You learn that lesson. Now you're going to take that and say, okay, I'm never going to miss these opportunities again because of this, right? Yeah, that was your fee. You basically, Lopez said, that was your fee for a mentor right there. But also, you could take that as like that was a whole entire lesson, right? You just made whatever money you made on that wholesale fee to learn that lesson. So take
Hmm.
that and then just go with it. Like
Yeah.
there was a deal that Sumner did that he bought the deal, sold it to a buyer, and ended up being right next to a golf course. The person he sold it to, literally like a week later, gets an offer from the golf course, and they paid him $5 million more than what he bought it from Sumner for.
Oh
So
my
Sumner's like,
gosh.
I lost out on $5 million. There's a video on his YouTube about it. And it's just because he didn't know or reach out to the neighbors, whatever. But guaranteed, I'll never make that lesson. Like do that, let that happen again. It's
Hmm.
just you never know, man. It sucks, but hey, it's a good lesson to learn. All right, so what is your let's get back to what you're saying. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. So I was doing the basic filters. I was doing 5 to 40 acres, like
Mhm.
Sumner talks about, and then it's 25,000 to 150,000. And I was just going through all the counties, state by state. I got a list of like 40. They're like the sell-through rate's like 10% for month 1, and then it's like just ranges for the other 3-month and 6-month. And I was sticking with 50 to 250 for the supply.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's correct. I don't know what you go by or anything like that, but that's what I saw. Some video where it's 50 to 250, so I
Mhm.
just use that as a filter.
Yeah. So we go by
But
supply, but we look at a couple other things too. But yeah, supply is really important. You want to make sure you're not going into market where there's only like 3 comps, right?
yeah,
Or it's because then it's like how do you price the market? How do you do all that stuff? So you got to make sure there's like action going on there, and is stuff actually selling there, right? So yeah.
but yeah, I mean, so obviously I'm learning all this, but like, so I pulled this one county, and I made the mistake of where you like sort um, in Google Sheets, you like sort Z to A, and it messed up my whole data. So I
Hmm.
messed some things up, so I had to refix that.
I'll show you a trick
But
for that.
eventually,
Yeah. I'll show you
so
the trick so you don't mess that up again today.
okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Um, like one of the counties I plan on mailing is Stokes County in North Carolina.
Okay.
That one had a. Let me check really quick. I
Well,
think it was like
so we're gonna we'll review these.
19%.
We'll review these, but let's go real quick. So what is your like ultimate plan for this? So let's real quick give me like a 1-minute plan. What's your plan for the next like 6 months?
I'd like to get my first deal as soon as possible. I'm gonna try and send out. Well, I'm gonna send out 2,000 letters a month, blind offers, until I get a
Okay.
deal. So I want to really like scope in or snipe in on my lists, and then I don't have really any skill with the dispositions or anything like that, or really talking to sellers, which I'll just pick up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
get my first deal, and then I'm gonna take all of that profit and put that back into mailing until I can. I mean, I'm gonna play it by ear, but I'd like to get to at least 10,000 letters a month.
Yeah.
I don't really have a set time frame, but it's just I got to get this deal as soon as possible, and then
Okay.
just re-roll it into it.
Okay. So you have a budget set aside for like 6 months of marketing?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the one thing I'll say is that with this business, any type of marketing business, whether it's wholesale, whatever you got to do, whatever you're doing, you need to have money set aside to basically plan ahead. Like some people will just dump all their money into 1 month of marketing, and then it's like nothing happens, and it's like crap. What do I do now?
Mhm.
No, you need to kind of like think ahead. Let me think a couple months ahead. How do I want to do this, right? And also, too, depending on how big and small your budget is, you might want to go more on the top like side of like, all right, let me really hone in and like pick certain pockets of like sales and things like that, where you're doing like more of a sniping approach. So you're looking for like pockets of a lot of sales and then just mailing that pocket and looking to get a deal like that. That's one way. I do broad brand where I just say, hey, I like these 10 counties. I'm going to pull all the data from all 10 of these counties, price all of them, and just mail them all out. That's what I do. Like
Okay.
so it's a little bit different, but my budget's different than yours, right? We
Yeah.
just sent out this past month or last week, I sent out 21,000 pieces of mail just last week.
Wow.
So, and we're
Oh
sending
my
another.
gosh.
I mean, it takes time though, right? It doesn't happen overnight. I've also been in
Mhm.
real estate for a long time, so it's a little bit different. But we're ramping up. I'm going to send another 20,000 next week, and then we're going to probably send out. I'd say probably by April, May, we'll probably be about 30 to 40,000 pieces per month, right? And then just based off our
Jeez.
KPIs, the way we track things out, every I should get about for those 40,000 in the next 2 weeks, I should get about 120 to 150 leads, and we'll probably actually close about 10% of those. So that's 12 deals. So, and then my 12 deals, each deal nets me about 30K. So that's like on average, right?
Mhm.
But just January alone, we have one deal that's going to make us 200 grand just on one deal.
Wow.
So just this is how it happens. Like sometimes you get like big numbers like that, but then your numbers get skewed later on. It just happens. But having
Mhm.
a good marketing budget and plan of what you're going to be spending for the next 6 months is super important. Make sure you have that set aside. And don't just go like willy nilly and just send a bunch. So Smaller budget, more sniping approach. Larger budget, go broadband, just let the leads come in, be more selective.
Mhm.
So for
Is
now,
that
okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Is that deal for
No,
200? Is that a like a normal land flip, or is that like a subdivide, or how is
no,
that?
just a normal land flip. So the thing is a
Wow.
lot of people, what they do is they filter out anything that's landlocked, like could be landlocked and all that stuff. But a
Mhm.
lot of times when you look at like land ID, all these things, they don't show easements. So I've been getting, for some reason, I don't know why it's happening, but I keep getting a lot of deals that look landlocked, but they're not landlocked. They have easements, deeded easements that go through, which allows me to get access to the property. So most investors look at this deal. It's a 70-acre parcel. Most investors look at the deal and they're like, "Oh, it's landlocked. This isn't a good deal." Well, we're buying it for 145. I paid 2,500 for the survey to update the easement, and then we're listing it for 350. So it just so happens that it was just like a stellar deal. It just happens like that. They're not always going to be there, but it's awesome when they happen, right? Um, if
That's
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, we actually were looking into subdividing it. We were going to do the 10-acre exemption, but the problem is with this parcel is like it's a really gorgeous parcel, and it's like in the center of a bunch of like houses and stuff like that. So because it's on an easement, it's a private road, so the county doesn't let me do. Um, there's like certain little parameters, stupid little things. My easement's 29 feet wide. If it was 30 feet wide, I could subdivide it into certain parcels, but I got to put roadways in and all this stuff.
Okay.
So because of that 1 foot, I can't subdivide it. I could fight for the
Wow.
easement, pay people, whatever. But I'm like, I'm gonna just take the win and just move on, and then take that, put it back into marketing and stuff, and turn that 200K into 2 million, or probably more than that, because we see typically a 20x ROI, or ROAS, return on ad spend. So if we put in $1,000, we typically get back out $20,000. So
Okay.
if I just track my numbers like that, if I put in $200,000, I could track back that out and get, that should be 20x, should be about, what's that, 4 million, right? Obviously it's not going to be like to the T, but you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it works out, typically those numbers work out like that. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so you have some kind of budget lined up. So market selection, how are you doing your market selection now? You're doing your sell-through rates?
Yeah, I do sell-through rates, and I go, like, if it's under 10% for the first month, I immediately put it into, like, a different spreadsheet of, like, something I already looked at. If it's,
Sure.
like, above 10% for the first month, it goes into my potential markets to mail, and then I do the calculations for 3 months, and then 6 months, and then the supply.
Okay.
And then from there, I kind of battle them against each other, and then my
Okay.
top, like, 5 I usually look at.
How many counties did you analyze before you pick some?
Oh, a lot. Oh my
Sure.
gosh.
Okay.
I do it. I heard someone say market Mondays. So every single
Mhm.
Monday, like in between my classes, I take my calculator out. I put my phone on do not disturb. And I just go through Redfin.
Smart man.
Every single county and every state that I go through. So I have like a list of like I've gone through 15 states. Every single county that shows up on Land Watch, and then I find the good ones and
Mhm.
keep doing that.
That's awesome. So what I do is I'll show you. Well, this is what I used to do. Now, Land Insights made this too easy, but I'll show you my old market selection. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. This one. So what I basically did is all right, so I would go in here and I would just, this is from October. So I went here, I would just pull every single, like I would just Google counties in North Carolina, and then it would just show me like a spreadsheet, like a wiki that had all the counties. And I would just take all the counties and just drop them into here. And I just ran the STR rates for every single county. So it sounds like it's a lot of work, but to be honest with you, it's not. I just took my phone and then I would just like have Redfin open. I'd type in the county and I'd have my computer open and I would just go, okay, Franklin County. And I'd say how many are on market, how many are pending, how many are sold, how many are this, and just went through that. And then obviously these are all formulas that automatically just fix this stuff. and I would just go through county by county, boom, 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 boom. Just did every single one. And I did that, and then I would just do all different states: Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Arkansas. I just went through. So I would do that obsessively. I would every single month we'd be redoing this thing, and that started like how I would track all my counties and everything, figure out the good sell-through rates. And I put like conditional formatting on here so that it would automatically turn green if the numbers hit, all that kind of stuff. So,
Okay.
if I don't know, are you pretty good with Google Sheets and all that stuff yet?
Just normal
You,
person.
you'll get proficient. Don't worry. It's kind of like a forced necessity. You'll get really good at it. Like, there's a lot of guys in Lehigh that are really good at this stuff. I'm done with it. Lopez, you could shoot me a DM if you ever want to work with me. I'm totally down to work with you. Just DM me on Discord, on the Leah Discord, and you could we'll connect. All right, so good. So you did some market selection. I like that you did a lot of counties. It's definitely important. We probably analyzed like 500 counties before we picked like 5. I was like, we just went through everything and then just kind of really went in and picked them.
Mhm.
What I did too is this is like part 1, okay, of picking a market is like finding the sell-through rates. Cool thing is now, if when you're ready to get this is another great tool. Kind of like just speeds up your market selection. Like this takes hours and hours out of your day because now you don't have to worry about finding markets and everything like that. It's super easy. What's really cool about this is they added this, and the new version is going to be even better. So they have this thing called the Genie. Genie is going to show you how homogenous the market is. So you did North Carolina, right? Cool. Lopez, yes, definitely send me a DM. We actually bought I think we're on 3 deals we're buying right now from other land investors, and we just pay them assignment fees. So they're just wholesaling deals to us now. So if you ever have anything, I'm totally down to work with you and pay you an assignment fee. So we got what we do here, and like you can look at these Genie scores and you can see like how tight the do you know what homogeneous is? Do you know what that means when I say that?
What I assumed it was the pricing is much more similar and like it's easier to price it out versus like more sporadic.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is.
Okay.
So the lower the score, the more tighter it is, like homogeneous, right? So let's go like Lee County, Anson County, Vance County, Richmond. All these tend to be a little bit tighter of a whatchamacallit, of homogeneous pricing. Now I'll show you real quick how I look at it too if you don't have these tools, because this is something that is accessible to anybody. You don't need all these special tools. While they do save you a ton of time and money, that's what they're there for to get started. You don't necessarily need them, but it's definitely something that everybody should have eventually. So you said Stokes County was one of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So what type of land does Stokes County have?
Um, I mean, I saw a little bit of everything. I mean, once you filter it down to the land, I usually
Mm-hmm.
so I do the numbers with um, no filters, just land, and then after
Mm-hmm.
that, I break it up to 5 to 40 acres, and then from there, I pull like all the comps and see if there's enough to price it. And then I remember
Okay.
one of the markets I was doing, it didn't have enough because you I know like a minimum of 20 or so is what you
Mm-hmm.
should shoot for.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know if I guess I don't know enough about the the market to say like, "Oh, it's all 10-acre like parcels," or
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't know
show
if
you
I
real
could say
quick,
that.
like a way to look at that too. So Stokes County, my first question, what I was really asking was, all right, so obviously you're going to go for rural recreational, right? That's your goal. Is anything like outside of
Mhm.
major metros? You're not doing like infill or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so rural rec, maybe some rural infill, things like that. So, which is what I do. I love it. Now, the one thing I'm looking at this, and the reason why I'm asking what type of land it is, when you're in North Carolina, especially the western part of the state, you tend to get more mountainous, which this tends to get a lot harder to price when you're in these mountainous areas. So I try to like tell people, if you're a beginner and you're just getting into this, you don't want to work in those areas. It's really tough. It's very hard because one side of the mountain's great, the other side of the like road is bad because you can't build on this side, but you can build on this side. And like things like that, you're going to waste a lot of money and time. So it's a lot
Okay.
easier to price like a flatter piece of land that doesn't have too many like large mountains or stuff like that. Some rolling hills, some valleys and stuff like that are fine. This part of the state, this like central part of the state, you're going to get some valleys. You're going to get some things that kind of like taper off. Your land value tapers off. I know North Carolina really well. This is like my main market is North Carolina, South Carolina. A lot of prices tend to taper off on the northern side of North Carolina, the closer you get to the Virginia border. Just because of like how far it away is from like Winston-Salem, things like that. Like the more expensive properties are typically in that 45-minute, 30 minutes to 60 minutes outside of the major cities are the better priced, parcels. So, and this land, like if you're looking at Redfin and such like that, you could see like anything white is going to be like more of a city. Anything lighter green is going to be more, land, just open land. Anything that goes darker tends to be like mountainous. And then see how it goes even darker there. So just quickly looking at this, you could see like, okay, this gets a little mountainous, but over here is more mountainous. And then you go way over here. Oh my God, it's all mountains. Okay. Just because of how green this is. So what you could do now, if your budget is tight, you want to make sure you're not just like broadbanding your marketing, right? So you've got to kind of like look at this and say, all right, what types of parcels sell the best, right? So let's go here. We're going to go sold land. Let's look at the last year and I'll go 4 acres to 10 acres. You got 93 that sold. Okay. Now, quickly looking at this, if you look at, you're trying to find a market that's homogenous, basically everything's trading around the same. See how up here it's like 50s, 225, 128, 51, 130. But then over here it's like 387, 430, 33, 386. It's kind of like all over the place in a way. This could get really tough to kind of price. Let me make sure I'm just on land. Hang on. Oh, there you go. That's better. I had houses on there. I was like, I wonder, that's big, stark differences. So there is some disparity in this pricing. It's not terrible, honestly. If you look at like this right here, probably is right here is like a subdivision, maybe, possibly. Let's see. You see like a lot of sales in the same area. It tends to be like a subdivision or something like that. So let's see. Okay. Man, it's not loading. My Redfin, I tend for some reason every time I'm on one of my lives, I cannot use Redfin. I might have to switch to Zillow. Pamela.
I get a lot of issues with it too. I always have to refresh and like things won't load or something will happen.
Yeah, I don't know why it does it. It's like only when I'm like, I guess doing too many things, it slows down. All right, so Stokes County, let's go here. Similar process, same thing. Just go to the here. Let's go. Sold. Lot size. Let's go 5 to 10 acres. And let's go 12 months. Okay. All right. So we got, for some reason, home type. There we go. Okay, cool. So when we look at this, we could kind of glean what's going on in the market. Now, what I like to do too, I look at all this stuff and I want to see the type of land that's selling, type of land that's moving, like actually selling pretty fast and all that stuff in these markets. So what I look for is stuff that's listed well and like looks like something I would like how I would list it with drone photography, good pictures, all that kind of stuff, right? This one is, if you go here, it doesn't see how it doesn't have any like listing information.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't
It was off
show.
market.
Yeah, it was an off-market property. Now I will show you too. If you go to Redfin, when you pull the data, you could sort that listing source, and you could just cut out all the things that were off-market. So when you go to do your pricing, you could just cut them right out, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I can show you that quickly too. So we got, this was a 10 acre. This one was a off-market. It's got a house on it. It's not a good one. So what a lot of like these off-market deals are, doesn't mean like, what there usually are is like interfamily transfers or something like that. That's a lot of times what happens with a lot of these off-market ones or whatever the case may be. So looks like they tried to sell this for a while for some reason. See how many times it was like listed and then unlisted, then listed, then listed.
Yeah.
This took like 3 years to actually sell. So that's another important factor when you're looking at markets. How fast is stuff moving? Because if stuff is taking a really long time to move, then you don't want to work in that area, right? You want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're working somewhere where stuff is moving relatively fast. So far, I don't really see anything that's like stand out that looks amazing here. Let's check the next size range. Let's check 10 to 20s. This is a 17 acre parcel. It's got your lot lines, all that stuff. So owner financing available. So listed, it went pending pretty fast and it sold.
Oh yeah, that was really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what you want to see. Like, okay, how many more are like this, right? Now I know
Mm-hmm.
what happens like after it sells, a lot of times the pictures get taken down, so you won't necessarily know or be able to see the pictures. Sometimes they stay up for a bit, sometimes they don't. All right, so you can take a look at all these and kind of just see how fast stuff is moving and where it's going, what kind of land moves the best. It'll give you a good insight so that when you go to market, like, okay, this northern side of the county doesn't really look like anything's selling there, right? So I'm not going to work there unless you look at like stuff and you're like, okay, there's only 3 comps, but they sold in like 2 days. Well, that's awesome. Then I do want to work there. There's a difference between like no demand or no supply, right? Because if
Mm-hmm.
there's no supply, then the demand will be super high. Stuff will go pending and go sold really quick. But if there's like no demand, that's when you're going to see like days on markets for like over 6 months, right? So that's where it's like when you get into these counties where like the sell-through rates are great, but maybe it's only for the northern portion or the southern portion, whatever case may be. So you might want to like take that and say, okay, I only want to pocket this little area. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. One of the things I was running into was when I was using data tree for the subdivision filters,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was just like it would come up like the same name, and so like one of them was King, and it's in the city of King. And
Mm-hmm.
when you click subdivision filter on data tree, it has like King, and then it'll put like a state, so like King like 1 or King 2, or like it wouldn't just be King.
Right.
And then like you'd click, I'd go through all of them and just like 0 results found, like 0 results found. And so
Yeah.
what I ended up having to do just so I could break it up into chunks is I went by cities, which I don't know if anyone has ever done that before, but I was like I did Danbury and Walnut Cove, and then King,
Mm-hmm.
and then another one, but it was like just breaking it up, and then I'd price those cities, and then price it like
Mm-hmm.
5 to 15 acres, and then 15.1 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's any good or not, but
Yeah, I mean, we could look at your pricing too if you want to look at that today. But basically, you got to make sure you're in a good pocket. Like I'm looking at this county, it looks like stuff kind of below this this park is selling faster than up here, right? So one thing too, when you're going through, especially on data trade, it's super easy to go in and like deselect parcels. So if you could like scan, I don't know if you know how to do that, but if you get like less than 1,000 results, you could go through, like zoom in and like pan throughout your screen and then click parcels that you don't want. Irregular shapes, weird this, weird that, whatever it is, you kind of start getting rid of them, and it helps lower your cost. So if you do that, you just can't delete, you can't remove duplicates. So it's like, can't remove duplicates, but you could reduce it like that. That's kind of like how one way we do it too.
Okay,
So
that's good to know.
yeah, it'll save you some money because you might be able to whittle down your list like to half the size. Like your goal in the beginning is to not broadband and send everything. You want to whittle your list down. If there's like 3,000 records in a county, you want to like get it down to 1,000 that you actually want to mail. Be selective and then price that. You're gonna have a much better time pricing when you're like that too. All right, so let's look at this one. This is 11/20/19. The sold got lit. The listing removed. Sold pending for sale 3/1/33. So it went pending in 2 days, which is awesome. And then it took a little while to sell. Still went pending in 2 days, which is important to look at. That was up north. So overall, I mean, this looks like a good county. Not like high speed, but it looks like it's definitely got some action. Let's check the 20 to 50s. Now, another question for this is, how do you plan on funding these deals when you get them?
Well, ideally, I negotiate it where there's enough spread for a deal funder, and then if not, I'm gonna have to. I haven't found out how people propose double closing to the seller.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like snippets of how like people talk about it, but I've never like really gotten the. This is exactly what you are like supposed to kind of say, and this is like because I get the gist is like you let them, you don't tell them, but like you let them know that it'll be like 90 days or could be 90 days or like I don't really know how people do
Yeah.
that.
So it depends on the person. I usually like sometimes I just won't even say anything because it's in the contract, right? It's in my contract. So sometimes I'll just list it. Like for the most part, what I do is I get a parcel. We get a parcel, we take pictures, we send it to title. As soon as I'm getting like clear title, it's going on the market, regardless if I told them or not. And I do that because I want to try to gauge the interest before I go and close on it, right? If I get a buyer that comes in and says, hey, they want to buy this parcel, well, I'll either close on it real quick with the lender or I'll just let it ride out and do a double close. So one of the two, whatever. I have access to pretty cheap capital. That's why I don't mind doing that. But a lot of people, if you're using deal funders, they, the first 30 days is pretty cheap. But after that, it could be a little more expensive, right? Or
Mhm.
gets more expensive every month, adds another 10%. So, stuff like that you got to be wary of. Now, I did a video a little while ago with Mayor. We talked double closes and stuff like that. So go check that out. And we kind of talked about
Okay.
the pitch and how we do it and everything like that. Um, at the end of the day, just make sure in your contract you have something that states like that you have the right to market on the MLS, all that stuff. If you do, you're good to go. But for the
Okay.
most
So
part, like, sorry. One thing I tell sellers all the time is if they call me on it and they're like, "Hey, I see my property on the MLS and it's listed for more than what we're under contract for." I'll just say, "Yeah, you're right. What I do is like my exit strategies are different all the time. Sometimes I have to sell it, sometimes I keep it, sometimes we subdivide it. We have all different exit strategies. But what I try to do is I gave you a price and I want to guarantee I get you that price within the allotted time frame that we came up with, right? So to facilitate a faster sale, if I have to get a buyer in here to make it happen, I'm going to make it happen for you. So sometimes I'll list it, get some interest. If I find a buyer that wants to buy it and you'll make your money, I make a little bit of money, everybody wins, I'll do that. But other times I might just put it out there just to gauge the interest while I'm deciding on my exit. Does that make sense? And that's kind of like
mhm.
what I tell them. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. You frame it as like, I'm trying to help you get paid faster, right? Most sellers are going to be like, oh, okay, that's fine. If they don't have to do anything, they're still going to get the money they agreed on. And if they say,
Yeah.
well, you can't do that, it's like, no, actually I can. It's in our contract. Look at line C. It states specifically buyer has the right to market on the MLS and any platform, whatever the case may be. So they just chose not to read it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a one-page contract written in clear, plain English. They totally could do it. We list on the MLS, Jeremy. We list on the MLS. We list on, and then it goes to Redfin, Zillow, all that stuff. So I don't do with Dispo. I just work with realtors. I'm not the kind of guy. I have enough going on that I don't want to work with um Dispo and all that stuff. So Nick, I don't know about you, but what your plan is? Are you planning on doing self-listing and all that stuff or no?
I was actually gonna ask kind of if you were to rewind to your first deal, how would you go about the whole process?
I'm also very even then because I've been in real estate. I just don't like Dispo. So I just found an agent and I said, "Hey, list this for me," and that was that. Super easy. Um,
Okay.
so that's my personal suggestion. You're learning. There's like two sides to the business, right? Technically three, but two sides right now. It's one acquisitions, two dispositions. Instead, in the beginning, why learn both? Just learn one, and then
Mhm.
focus on learning the other one later on, right? Because acquisitions, you already have to talk to people, deal with stuff, find comp deals, da da da. Now with dispositions, you're gonna have to do the same thing, but on the opposite end of the spectrum. Talk to talk to buyers, get them to go to the property, find out what their offer is, and get them to do this, all that stuff. Is it worth 10% just to give it to an agent and tell them to do it? Or is it worth your time? That's where you have to decide, right? Sumner likes to have a dispo team do it because then he controls the buyer, right? He could say, like, he could take that buyer later on and send them another property, whatever the case may be. Totally
Mhm.
true. The scale Sumner is not where a lot of people are. So where he is totally easier to do, right? Because he's got the team, he's got the people, all that stuff. Right now, it's just you and a computer. So kind of have to decide what you think is best. Um, okay, so how many parcels did you get? Did you pull this data already or not yet?
Not yet, but I did the math because I was looking at. So what I ended up doing was I took the four. Let me check real quick. So I took the city of King, Danbury, Westfield, and Walnut Cove,
Okay.
and then I did. Um, let's see where Stokes. I put it's owned for 20 years or more. I
Hmm.
excluded do not mail and the corporate owned, and I did market improvement 0 to 5%, and then 5 to 40 acres, and then they live in the all 50 states.
Hmm.
And doing all of that, it was 921.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
Wh-
now. Put that on the map, and you'll probably be able to like deselect a lot of parcels you don't want. You'll probably skinny
Okay,
that
like
down to like 400. Yeah,
because
you
of
could
topography or
all different
landlocked or
things.
how would
If you want, you could hit present on your screen. Or do you have data tree up right now?
nah, I can let me log in really quick.
Okay. I don't know if I still have my data tree. Do I even have data tree anymore? I know I have data tree somewhere. Let's see. Huh. Don't see it.
Oh, the present button.
Yeah, hit the present button. It'll then you could select like share full screen or share just a single page, whatever it is. Whatever you.
Oh, jeez. Some other pop-up just came up.
Yeah, so I think overall Stokes County looks like a pretty good county. I actually think I am mailing it soon or will. I don't know. I gotta look at my list and see if that's on the list, but cool.
Are you
So
able to see my screen?
yep. All
Okay,
right, so let
sweet.
me go clear. Cool. Okay, so pull up those results like you did, and then I'll show you how to like put it on the map and then deselect stuff. It is good to do like if you see certain areas. Oh, do 4.9. 4.9 to, whatever. There's a lot of parcels that'll come up that are like 4.9 acres that are still good parcels. They're still technically 5 acres,
Oh, okay, that's a cool trick. Um,
And then you selected a couple cities, right? And okay, there you go.
yes.
1,800. Perfect. So you could do by zip code too. That's another helpful thing. You could do like zip codes, all different things like that. Like I know a couple guys that I know what they do is they do quadrants. They select like certain quadrants of the state, and they'll
Mhm.
price like one or of the county. They'll price a quadrant of the county one way, above it, lower, above it, lower, down, below, higher, whatever the case may be. They price it based on quadrants versus like entire counties. So
Okay, so
okay, so hit view results.
is this kind of a list like way too small to be going after, or just like
No, this is like sniping, kind of what we talked about.
okay, sweet. That's what
Yeah.
I'm going for. So I didn't know if I was doing
So,
it completely wrong or not. So
no, you're good. There's a little button. Go back. It says view results on map.
jeez.
Hit less map. Yeah, hit that. Right, yeah, right there. Hit view results on map. It'll show them all on the map plotted out. Just give it a second. Sometimes it takes. Are you by Stokes County? Yeah, there it goes. Okay. Now go back to more map. Okay, now zoom in to the top left, let's say. I usually start at the top left, and then I like zigzag across the screen. Zoom in, keep going. Scroll up. All right. Yep. Okay. So zoom in a little bit further. You want to go till you start seeing the parcel outlines. Go to layers real quick, the little 3 buttons on the side. Parcel. Click the parcel.
I just got it yesterday, so
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, you're just figuring it out. Good. All right. So parcel. You could also put like if you want to do owner's name. So sometimes you'll see like a lot of people own the same parcel or like multiple parcels. So you could just delete them. Okay. So now click that off again. No, leave the owner name on. Yeah. Click the little 3. Yeah. Go back. Leave owner name on. Yep. And then just hit the 3 things again. Okay. Perfect. Good. Now go to the map. Okay. So you see how this one, like Canner, Sanjay, whatever. If you look at that parcel, it's not that great because it's kind of like all over the place. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to the three things again. 3 buttons. Scroll down. Flood zone. Perfect.
oh
All
wow.
right. Exactly. So unclick that. You could leave the flood zone. Leave it on. Leave it on. I'm saying like click out. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So now if you look at these parcels, you probably don't want stones. because half the
Yeah.
parcel is in a flood zone. It's not a bad property, to be honest with you, because it is, it is a nice front road frontage, all that stuff. Probably beautiful with the river behind it, but it does flood halfway. Click the parcel itself, just like the outline of it. Does it show you how big it is? It doesn't show. That's okay. It looks like it's probably like a 4 acre or something like that. No, maybe like a 10 acre parcel. Okay, so now click the little checkbox if you don't want that parcel. There you go. Now move to the next one. Go to Cranor or whatever. So that parcel right there, it's a decent sized parcel. Kind of got this weird thing in the middle. So like something like that's going to be weird. It's going to be hard to sell. So I would probably get rid of that one. Okay, good. Let's go to Boyles. Boyles is fine. That's like kind of like a flagpole lot. It's got a little bit of flood zone in the corner, but it's nothing detrimental. I think that's fine. Look at the guy to the right, Collins Rachel. She's like all in a flood zone.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So click that out. So you don't want anything like that. She's also looks landlocked. Like I don't see any type of roadway to it. Now I will say like a couple of my parcels that I've gotten are like look like that, but they do have easements. But if I'm looking at this, I would say like that's probably one that I wouldn't want regardless because it's so far in, it's all flood zone, so it's probably a bad property.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is basically what you're going to do is you're going to go through this, you're going to go through, deselect a bunch of parcels, kind of get to the point where you get a nice list that you want. All right, you're not going to buy it, but go hit the order button on the bottom left. No. Okay, never mind. I haven't used this in a long time, so I don't really know how to do it. Hit less map, yeah. Okay, so you would do, I think it's like export or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so when you go to buy it, you're gonna make sure if you hit the button that says remove duplicates, all this time you just did will be gone. So do not hit that.
Okay.
Okay. So and this is one thing you have to do. Like you have to do it in one shot. You can't go back and forth. Like you have to start it and stop it. So like make sure if you're gonna do this, you're dedicating yourself for like an hour, to like really pick the right stuff. So So that's definitely one way to skinny it down. So you're gonna get rid of all the bad properties and everything like that. So once you do that, now you're only mailing good quality properties, which will help save you a lot of money, right? Because now you could say like, well, I had 900, now I got this down to 400. Okay. Well, now that 400, now that means I can mail like 5 or 6 more counties because I've shortened up my list a little bit, right? To only good quality properties. So it definitely helps you now go through all that kind of stuff. So that should definitely be something that'll help with that. Okay, so what are the questions you have as far as like anything goes? I know you have a mailer set up and all that stuff.
I'm gonna be doing that as soon as I get the list exported and everything's finalized. Just I guess use Rocket Print is what everyone says to use.
Yeah, Rocket Print's great.
For taking properties off, so you look for flood zones. Is there landlocked, and then is there the hilly ones? How do you gauge if it's the topography?
You could look at the terrain or the satellite if you wanted. It'll take more time to do that. I don't really worry too much about like that. You could, there's different ways to do it. I know some people will sit there and like deselect stuff like that. It's just a lot of work,
So mostly the flood zones.
Yeah, flood zones and weird shaped properties. Stuff that's like a really tiny little flagpole, like a little tiny strip, and then a giant flagpole. Stuff like that you want to kind of like get rid of. They're not terrible, but if you look at the type of land that's selling the most, it's not that type of property. So you want to be kind of picking the stuff that everything's kind of moving in. And then your pricing, make sure your pricing is good. What I do is like, I'll look at the pricing, put it down, randomly go and select a parcel, and then click, go through that, and then like comp it as if it's a deal coming in. So does that make sense? Like, here, I'll show you one of my lists. All right, so I'll go at the stage. So here we go. So I'm gonna go. Let's go marketing. Let's go mail schedule. So this is January. So I'll just pick whatever. So what we do is we'll go in here and I'll do all our data just goes into like one sheet. So I got all data raw. So I have SOPs created for this. And what I do is like step one, before I touch anything, I import the data. It's in here. What I do is this, and this is like how you messed up your one spreadsheet. This will help you like catch it before you mail it and then you're screwed. I go through and I hit control or command, whatever you're going to do, and I'll select a bunch of rows. And I'll just select a whole bunch of rows. And I call them backstops, right? See these red lines? That's what I'm doing. So I select a whole bunch and then I just fill them with red. Okay. So the reason why I do that is, let's say I delete this entire section, or hang on. So I could delete cells, shift left. So I would know something's wrong there. Or if I delete these cells and I shift up, see how it's all messed up? I would see like, oh, what the
Yeah.
heck? Why is it screwed up like that? But it would carry through the rest of my sheet. So I'd instantly know something's wrong. Okay.
Okay.
So I do that. That's like I call them backstops. It's something that we just do to make sure like I'm not messing anything up. Because all it takes is hitting sort one time and you're spent. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And then you can majorly, mail an entire list of whatever and be totally wrong. So I do that. That's like part of my SOPs. That's the first thing we do as soon as we bring something in. Is we do that. So try to stick with doing something of that sort. And then what else? What else you got for me?
Let's see. So when you mail, do you usually stick with one state, or do you like for instance, I mean the five that I have, one's in West Virginia, one's in Tennessee, the two are in North Carolina, and then one's in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I
Uh,
got all those down to like 2 or 300 or 400 to get to the 2,000, should I just like all do North Carolina, or
it's kind of your preference, right? It's up to you. I would try to choose, like, if your disposition plan is selling with a realtor, go find a realtor that works that area and talk to them. Say, hey, look, I'm mailing these markets, looking for this type of property. Do you do double closes? Cool. If not, then go to somebody else, because you want to find somebody that wants to work with investors, will do double closes and all that stuff. I think I did a video 2 or 3 weeks ago where we called some land realtors. I found a realtor that does double closes. Boom. Super easy.
okay.
It took me probably like 20 or 30 calls. And once I found one, the guy was like, yeah, I work with investors all the time. I'll list whatever. We got 5 properties listed with him right now just because he does double closes. So it's just, once you find that realtor, it's like, oh, it's like the easy button, right? And you're
Hmm.
done. So finding those, also they'll give you the area insight. They'll tell you about the different parcels. Don't work in this don't work in this city, work in this city. This one is, really poor. Like Grifton, North Carolina is a very poor city versus like other areas of Pitt County are very, expensive. I wouldn't know that until I looked at, talked to the area expert, and he was like, yeah, you don't want to work there. You want to work here. These are all the good areas. And it's like, oh crap. Okay. Well, you just saved me a bunch of money. So that's one thing. What else you got?
Let's see. What are the filters you normally use on Data Tree?
I mean, you pretty much did it. I use Land Vision, which is very similar, but the
Okay.
stuff I just look for 4.5 acres plus. That's it.
Okay.
I don't filter anything down. I'll buy stuff that they just bought last year. I don't care as long as the price is right. I look for anything that's 4.5 acres and above, and that's non-owner occupied. That's it.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that the owner doesn't live on the property. If they don't live on the property, I'm happy to buy it. Because if they live on
Hmm.
the property, it's a whole different thing or whatever. So, yeah, that's that. And then, yeah, I think that's it for that. What else you got?
So for pricing wise, I have it set at 50% right now. Is that kind of like a standard, like you do that, and then from your results, you go either up to 55 or down to 45, or how does
Yeah, I
I've never really
usually,
heard someone say like a
yeah,
strict guideline.
there isn't. So I have a couple different ways I price. I price pretty much at 55%, knowing they're going to call and I'm going to skinny them down and try to get them down to like, 50 or 45%, something like that. But if the
Okay.
deal's there and I'm making money, I'll still buy it at 55, 65, whatever percent. I don't care.
Mhm.
It just depends on the spread. So for me, my personal business, I look to make 30 grand per deal. Okay. So after I pay my lenders, I pay my realtors, I like to make 30K per deal. Okay. So when I mail some markets that the properties are selling for 250, 300K, I'm not going to offer them 150,000 because they're going to say no. So what I do is I take 10% off the market, the offer price, like 300K times 10% for the realtor. Then I do minus 30,000 times another 10%. That gets me to like 210. So I might mail that person at 210 and they're like, yeah, everybody's mailing at me at 150. But if you'll pay 210, I'll do it. So that's just me. But
Mhm.
I have lenders that'll cover that and all that stuff. So it's a little bit different. If you're working with deal funders want to be 50% market. So you just got to think. So if that's the case too, like think about this from the mindset of a person who owns like a 50 acre and it's worth 400 grand, you're mailing them at 200,000. They're going to say yes to that? Probably not. Right. So you almost don't want to mail those larger parcels. Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
for your business personally too, look at this stuff and say, do I really want to mail stuff that is a buy for 20, sell for 30 or 40? Right. Like if it's a buy for 20, sell for 40, after everything is done, you're making like 5 or 10 grand. Is it worth your time? Right. And in
Okay.
the beginning, it's good to just do deals, but at some point, it's like maybe I need to go up market a little bit, so it's not my deals aren't as small or whatever the case may be. So sometimes like going up market a little bit and looking for like a minimum profit or a minimum um, exit price is like what you want. Like our bread and butter is like buy for 60, sell for 120, stuff like that. You know,
Mhm.
that gives us a good spread. We're exactly where we want to be. So
Okay. And then I got, I think, one question left.
sure.
So I downloaded Open Phone
Okay.
and I recorded a voicemail, and it's not great, but once I send it mail, I'll have like 2 weeks to fix it or improve it. Do you use Pat Live, or would you recommend, like, after this first deal, like, get onto Pat Live and then send more mail, or like, because I've heard
Yeah.
bad things, like, Ari Tipster, he talks about the voicemail, but I know it's getting a lot more competitive, and obviously if it's going straight to voicemail and say I'm in the middle of class and it takes me an hour to get to them, like, that's the thing, is like I'm spending so much money, three
Right.
hundred, 400 per lead, and I don't wanna
I
just
know.
waste that.
That's the thing. You don't want to waste it. That's why I use Answer Force, which is just like Pat Live, very similar. So I think they're both great. The only reason why we switched to Answer Force, hold on. The only reason why I switched to Answer Force is they have a call recording. So because they have a call recording, I could download it, put it into my CRM, and my acquisitions managers can listen to the call. That's the only reason why.
Okay.
So they're the same thing as Pat Live. Sumner has a link for Pat Live if you want to use them. It's about, I think Answer Force is like about the same price too, maybe a little cheaper. Um, it's like $200 a month. So it's an added cost, but if you think about it, like $200 is the 400 pieces of mail, right? If you can answer the phone or get to the phone within an hour, fine. But I personally, we tried the voicemail thing. I actually paid, like, went on Fiverr, had a professionally recorded voicemail made for me and all this stuff. Nobody would ever leave a voicemail. It was just like, what's even happening? Like they would call, and that was it. I'm
Okay.
like, shit. So what I like about the answering service, what I like about the answering service is you go on there and they'll what the hell? They answer all the questions for you, right? And they tell them like, hey, there's somebody will call you back in like whatever time, hour, 24 hours, whatever you want to do. What that does is it buys you time to like comp the deal. Okay. So now you could sit there instead of like trying to talk to this person, like, oh hey, what's your APN? Oh, what's your name? All this stuff, like all that information is in front of you. There's no like worrying, right? So when you're calling the seller, you're just like, hey Bob, hey, just checking in. Cool. So tell me about your 5 acre. Oh, looks great. Okay, I see it does have like a little bit of a flood zone over here. Whatever. Like you actually informed about the property. Okay. So you're basically changing it from an information gathering call if you're answering it yourself to the other type of call is like you're there just to lock the deal up. That's your goal. It's like I'm just calling to say, hey, let's buy this deal. That's that. So I prefer an answering service.
Should I just fork up the money now? And I don't know how much it is a month, but I mean, open phone I'm paying for anyway. So I mean, and then I have in the budget. I mean, it's just like if it's gonna take me a whole year to get a deal, it's like I'd prefer to just
Yeah.
keep it lower.
Yeah, I know it's a hard thing to think of. I mean, it's worth it it is worth it. You're not going to have the phone ringing off the hook in the beginning. So like you just have to like kind of weigh that out.
Mhm.
It's an option. Just look at your budget and kind of feel like, okay, and if I'm being more sniper approach on this, is it worth paying for this? Because it, like you said, if you're in class,
Yeah.
you don't want to be like, I have to run out of here and like get on the phone to buy this deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the
Definitely.
hardest part. It's a really hard thing. I say yes. I think that's one of the best things somebody could do for their business is
Okay.
get some kind of answering service. It just makes you sound professional, look professional, and you versus 20 other people that are just starting. If they're all starting right now, you have that, they don't. Well, who's going to get the deal? You are, right?
Mhm.
So I would start with info lots waiting. I would start with infill lots while waiting on these bigger deals. Way easier. So, like you said, you could start with infill lots. Infill lots are great. Your pricing is a lot different. It's a lot easier, like he's saying. Like so, basically, with infill lots, it's like you're looking at 200 parcel subdivision. Everything pretty much trades for about the same, right? So all it is a matter of mailing all these people and saying, "Hey, I want to buy your parcel for half the price." Okay, they say yes, or they say no, whatever the case may be. You buy it, get it under contract, go to sell it, whatever. You just got to make sure the demand's there. My only thing with infill lots, and the reason why I don't even do them now, is you only have one exit on that. Only thing you do with the infill lot is build.
Mhm.
So with rural rec, I have multiple exits. I could build a house. I could use a hunting land, RV, anything. Right? Doesn't matter what it is. Right? So I don't want to limit myself to one exit, which is why I do 5 acre plus rural rec. So that's my personal preference. Everybody has their own. There's people that make shit ton of money on, infill lots, and that's awesome. Me personally, I just like my rural rec because I also try to buy a lot of these parcels to keep. So it's like when I get some nice land, I keep it. You know.
Yeah.
So cool, man. What else you got? Anything else?
I mean, no, I took up enough of your time.
Yeah.
I think I'm
No,
good.
cool. Awesome, man. I think I'll check. I might have. I'll send you a DM for the call center. Let me see what I got. So awesome, man. If you have anything, don't hesitate to like reach out and stuff like that. We could bring you back on here too and like check in with you and see what's going on. Check out your results once you mailed some stuff. And yeah, if you want to review any markets, don't hesitate to ask us. Like just DM me. We could always bring you on here and review some markets, whatever you want to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So
Yeah, dude,
I
I'm
really
I'm here.
appreciate
And
it.
tons of great people inside Leah. Be feel that like ask away, ask as many questions as you can. So Cool, man. Well, good to have you. I appreciate
Awesome.
you hanging out with me.
Yeah, thank you for
Cool.
having me.
Of course, bro. All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks.
All right, take care.
Later. Awesome, guys. Cool. That was really fun. I love doing this stuff. So if anybody ever has any questions, I would love to, follow along in Nick's footsteps and see what's going on and like see how he does. I think he's gonna crush it. We know that. It just takes a little time sometimes. This is like this business is great. But once you get some traction, it just gets better and better. So he's definitely gonna kill it. I know that. He's young. He's 19. So good for him. Cool. If anybody ever has anything, just shoot me a message, shoot me a DM. If you guys have any deals you're looking to move that you're just looking to make a wholesale fee on, more than welcome. You could just reach out to me. You could drop a comment here or DM me. Or you could just DM me and I'll send you our JV form. We partner with a lot of people, or we actually just buy deals from them. So if anybody's interested and just wants to make a quick assignment fee and not have to deal with all the lenders and stuff like that, or the timelines, just let us know. We bought 3 deals this month from other investors. So love to buy more. Cool, guys. I'll see you all next week. Later.